G'day, I'm Murray. This is my backyard. A while ago, before the bore was put in, there'd been some earthworks around that area and we've developed a bit of a problem there. There's been some erosion down the gully. It was always expected, but I didn't check on it fast enough, and now I've got to try and do something to help stop the erosion getting any worse. The gully's pretty deep. I hadn't checked it for a while. I went down there with the whippersnipper. I carved a path out either side of it and it's gotten away. So now the task is going to be work out a way of stopping the erosion, and that's going to initially involve a bunch of hardwood posts and some hay, and I'm going to see how that looks. I have access to a mighty pile of rocks. They may play a part down the track, or I can just dump whole hay bales all the way through it and see how that holds up. But for now, first go, I'm going to try some hay and some stakes. So yeah, let's get in the hole. The majority of the grass I whippersnipped was green panic, about 4 or 5 feet tall, and I did manage to get a lot of it to fall straight in the washout. But I worked out that jumping on it seems to be a good way to go. There is one slight drawback with jumping on it though, which is going to come up very soon. Yeah, something moved right beside my foot, down in the eroded area. About a foot from where I was standing, I heard it very clearly. It was quite big, it wasn't a toad. I think it was a good sized snake. I never saw it. I did try and irritate it a bit, but I didn't set foot in the gully again and only try and compress the grass with the rake from here on in. Little tip, star pickup drivers also work for hardwood wooden stakes. Up where the ute is, this is a hard track that's been in use for many years, and it was on the downside of this that got filled in. This hill got levelled a fair bit and the spoil came into here, so just downstream of that old roadway we start to get problems, and it starts off really deep just here. There's very little on the way down here, then it just leaps down here. I like the look of these. I don't know if they're going to be enough or whether they'll need topping up or something in between, or locks somewhere. But yeah, it was about here that I very clearly heard a snake moving in the bottom of the trench for a little while. So I stopped walking in it to compress the grass. So it's not too bad here until we get to this spot just here. And it seems like overland flow on this side has come in and really gouged it out, and it's combined with this stuff on the right. That's where we come from up there. I think I've got to put some whole bales in here, just lengthways, rectangularly. Definitely one there, probably wedge one in there, two. So I want to put a bit of a gap between them. It might be half a dozen bales just in this wide stretch just here. I've got so many rocks it's not funny. I'll show you those on the way back. It gets narrow again here. This might be another spot for some stakes, maybe even single stakes, because it is quite narrow in places. I don't know whether I want to block it in the wider places or the narrower places, but it's near 2 feet deep here. It's a bit hard to see down in there. Here we go. Yeah, it's close to 2 feet deep on the right in there, I'd say. I'm not stepping in it, as I say. It's nice and cool down there. There's shade and the snakes like it. And down here it just peters out. And we get into this panic grass. This was planted, the valley was seeded with panic years ago, and this has got very binding roots. So this stuff will act, once it grows, to hold everything together. There's some of it growing actually in the bottom of this at the moment. We'll be able to point some out to you. Here we go. There's one there that's going to be helping hold things together, and hopefully stopping stuff that's washing down, catching it, and yeah, helping to bind. Here's another, quite a large one down the bottom. So that's a good sign. Over time this gully will fill itself in if we can slow up the water, and the panic alone should do a fair bit for that over time. This looks like a... no, that's just packed mulch. Yes, okay. So I'm going to leave this here for next time. Get some more wooden stakes. I'm not sure how many I've got. Half a dozen maybe, but if we can get away with one down in that narrower section down further instead of two, that would save a fair amount of stakes, and we could do more. So half a dozen bales and come back. I didn't put this one here, but these are mower killers I've picked up. Oh, a lump of concrete over there, but these are mainly mower killers that I've picked up over the years, and wanting to stash them somewhere useful, I found this was a spot that was a bit out of the way. I've used these for odd projects and stuff like that, but you know, mound of rocks. I could fill in a fair amount down in that gully if I wanted to make little periodic stone walls and stuff like that. I did have to actually dig a fair few of these up because they were partially exposed and were hitting the mower, and you know, you get the crowbar, you wedge them out and they're a lot bigger than you think. You stagger on into the back of the ute, half fill it, bring it up here, empty it out. A lot of fun collecting rocks. Lapidary collection for people who aren't that fussy. Anyway, I've got some rocks. I got a bit tied up after shooting that, had to water and it started to get dark. But what I wanted to do was to ask for some suggestions. Is the idea of putting hay bales in that washed out area worthwhile? Obviously I'd pack the edges so that the water just won't flow around the edges. I'd pack them with loose hay and see how tight I could get it. But is that too high for the water to go over the top of? I would expect if there was a series of bales, there could be scouring in the areas in between the bales, which maybe I want to put rocks in, or maybe if I put them closer together there wouldn't be enough room for scouring. It's going to be a while before we get significant rain. The wet season is over with, but we could get a late season cyclone event up north that gives us some rain. There's things that can happen. At the moment, our next week's outlook is no rain to speak of. Maybe a mill here or there. So nothing's going to happen down there at the moment, but I want to get moving. I've got a week or two to get some suggestions. Maybe John, with land care experience, will have some suggestions. And yeah, I'd like to use the materials I have to hand. Rocks, bales of hay. I have some metal mesh around the place, all over the place, that I could cut for certain sizes. I've got the wooden hardwood stakes. I'd rather not use star pickets, because if I get that to fill itself in over time, I can just cut the wooden posts off with a chainsaw or a saw or anything. Whereas it's a bit harder to cut down a star picket, which is going to be a bit of a problem, because if I can get that back to level, the panic is going to grow and it's going to hold everything pretty well. So yeah, no rush, but I'd love some ideas. So thanks in advance for your suggestions, and have a good one.